Perfect. So
Okay.
hello, Fernando. Welcome
Hi,
and
Andres.
thanks for your time. We
It's
can
a pleasure.
get started straight away. Just with the basics. You're gonna give us a brief introduction of yourself, uh, where you're from, and what is your current role.
Okay, great. I am Fernando Llaver. Uh, I am from Argentina. 48-year-old guy, so not so young as a usual founder, but the thing is that I spent more than 20 years of my career in the energy industry. So I came from the energy industry. I started being a very young uh, person coming from the financial side of the business. When all the corporate ladder uh, until being the CEO of a large transmission company in Latin America. After that, I quit. So that is basically my background. Uh, I used to build transmission lines, to build renewable power plants, things like that, until I realized the business was like literally not working in the new fashion way, because when I start working in the energy industry, we just have to carry one electron from point A to point B. And at the end of my corporate career, we have to deal with intermittency coming from renewables, which is a very different problem, and we weren't tackling that problem with
Uh,
the
mm,
technology that we have today. So,
can you tell us a little more for someone that, let's imagine someone that has never been to Latin America. What is Mendoza like? And how was your life working more than 10 years in a transmission company in Mendoza?
Mendoza is like a middle-sized city, but with very good technical resources. The thing is that since Mendoza is not in the area of Buenos Aires in Argentina, which Buenos Aires is like the big thing. Everything happens in Buenos Aires. We are like far away from Buenos Aires, just under the mountains. I live just under the Aconcagua, and I am closer to Santiago de Chile than Buenos Aires, so we are a mix. Like, okay, we can work either in Argentina or Chile, and think that being an Argentinian, having access to a lot of technical resources, which Argentina have a lot, access to a great market. Chile is a great market for renewables, which is our business. So we are kind of being in Mendoza was like allow us to have access to different worlds. Argentina, Chile. We start looking north. I start working in Peru, Panama, and now we are in the US. So at the end, now I live in Mendoza, but I spend most of my time in the US. That is why I take 24-hour flights every month. So now I am in an airport, like you can see in my back. I don't know if
And
I respond to
we'll,
your question.
yeah, no, you did. And you mentioned before that, so if we move to the problem, before we get to Splight, you said the industry and the way energy management, let's call it, was not working in your view. What led you to identify this problem during this 10 years plus working in the sector? And why would you say this is personally important to resolve?
Okay. Yes, that is a very good one, because when I quit my job, obviously it was a shock for my family, and my wife was crying because I quit a very fancy job at the C-level position. So the thing is that I was the CFO and the co-CEO of this
Sorry
company.
for the interruption. Can you just give us a snapshot of how was the conversation with your wife when you said, I'm taking the leap of faith, I'm switching paths from the corporate lifestyle to entrepreneur?
Yeah, that is complex, because the thing is that I was at this position. I was the CFO and the co-CEO of the company, so I have a lot of power. It was a transmission company. We build infrastructure, and the thing about electricity infrastructure is that it is all about finance. It is all about deploying capital. You deploy capital and you get an internal rate of return on that capital. That was basically my job, and that is basically the job of every CEO on the supply side of the energy industry. Let's say high voltage generation and transmission. So it's all about finance. You have to get the money, big money, like millions, deployed in transmission line, big assets, things like that. You have to secure, more or less secure, an internal rate of return, and you have your investors and your lenders happy. That's it. So I was spending too much time with lawyers and bankers and things like that, which was my thing at the end. But at the moment that we start deploying renewables, I thought, okay, this is the same. We have to put a lot of money into these big things. Let's say $100 million in a 100 megawatt power plant. I get 10% on that capital, and that's it. It is like the usual thing. But the thing is that when you start deploying renewables, the grid gets congested, so you can inject all this energy into the grid, so you start wasting clean energy and losing money. And I was like, hey, what is happening? So this is when my professional experience mixed with my personal experience. I said, hey, this is not working. We are deploying renewables, which is very good. It's good for the planet. We are saving the world deploying renewables, but the guys in my control room running my transmission line said, no, you are not able to inject it because the lines are congested. So I was having curtailment. Curtailment is the technical word to say that you are wasting renewable energy. So I said, I don't understand. I mean, we spend a lot of money and time studying how the grid works. We spend a lot of time and money in consultants who said that you can inject energy there, that there is wind or sun or things like that. We put the money, we build the thing, and then after all of these phases, we weren't able to inject it. So I get frustrated. I hire a bunch of very clever guys, very, very brilliant guys that were computer science, and say, hey, tell me what is the problem. They told me what was the problem. And I said, wow, we can solve this. And I went to the owners of the company and said, hey, we can solve it with this new technology. I went to different kind of participant in the sector, and all of them, they say, no, this is not possible. We are a company, another company in the market. We don't care about new things. So
can you elaborate more on that conversation?
So the thing is, I end up like depressed. And this is very personal, but it was frustrating because I said, hey, we can solve a very cool problem, which is injecting more clean energy into the grids in a safe way, very reliable. We can solve such a huge problem, and nobody cares. And that was such an impact for me that I was literally depressed. And I had this conversation with my wife, and I said, I literally can't take any more of this. People don't want to solve things. They just want to get the check at the end of the month and take a vacation. I am not like that. I want to have a real impact in this world. I have the possibility to do that. It is the right time because we need more clean energy. And the thing that nobody cares is not my problem. My problem is that I care. I want to do that.
What was her reaction?
She said, I must be so depressed that she said, quit and let's see what happens. So that's what I did. But after that, she said, oh, this is so hard. I don't know why you do this. And she started crying and things like that. And I said, hey, but I am happy. Yes, we are happy without money, without a big salary. So we can afford a good vacation, but you look happy, but we are not good, okay, we are not doing okay in terms of money because I put all of my money in this new company. So she said, you are spending all of our money and savings into a new company. You are so happy and so thrilled and things like that, but we are poor again. And I said, we are not poor. We just have to work and do things that really matters, things that are meaningful. At the end, I didn't care about the money. I just care about doing something that it is cool. If we can prove that we can solve this problem the way we do, at the end, the fact that nobody cares in Argentina in that specific ambient, it wasn't my problem. My problem was that I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. Yes, I was under much more stress in terms of financially speaking, but I was like very happy for doing what I thought that I had to do. So,
and there, can you very simply and briefly, because you mentioned you were already working on the problem, you had hired data scientists to resolve it, but if you could just touch on briefly what the Splight platform does. And
okay, so
and how and if getting to that point was a vision you had from the beginning, or a bit of a journey in terms of development of the product?
As always, we had to went across an evolution, but you know, back to the point when I start dealing with this problem, and I hire these very smart guys, which then came with me, and they are now my co-founders. Yes, Carlos and Thomas.
Okay.
Carlos and Thomas were working. We were a big company with a big building, with a big corporate building, but they were working in a small room, like isolated from everyone. And they came to me and said, "Hey, we have this. If you give us this data in real time, and we can control certain things, we can inject more clean energy into the grid, keeping it safe." And I said, "Oh, okay. So where do we take the money? The data? We need this, and this. Okay. How do we have to do to control the things?" And we realized that the data is there. The industry takes tons of data from the grid. And we realized that new renewable power plants, distributed energy resources, batteries, the new thing in grids, in electrical grids, have a very cool component, which are inverters. And inverters are computers. So we have the data, we have the things that we want to control. So we build the platform that can take data in real time and control inverters. And by doing that, we can respond to contingencies in the electric grid in real time. Why is that important? Because contingencies is the crazy little word keeping the grid operating at half of capacity. Because, and why I am saying this, because I know that if you have two transmission lines, or I mean, one transmission line is actually two cables, you are using the half of capacity, because if one fails, the other have to be able to carry all the energy. So literally, the grid is running at half of capacity. With our technology, we can use the grid at 100% capacity, and we can solve contingencies using real-time data. That is much more effective, and Llaver, and we can make a big impact in grids. So that
Fantastic.
is how we start working in the solution. Yeah.
And can you tell us there from, if this was around, say, 2021, if I'm correct, around that time?
Yeah, yeah, was about that time, yeah, exactly.
Can you tell us a bit more about what growth has been like in terms of the personal challenges and insights? If you had to pick one or two of the main insights you've learned across this journey from inception to where you're now, and we're gonna touch on that. Which do you
the
pick?
insights for founders, people who see a problem and know how to, and once they don't need to know how to solve it. They just need to want to solve it. The thing that I learned is that being in Latin America, I am from Mendoza, which is not even a big city in Latin America. But the thing is that we are having global problems all across the world. We are not so far away in terms of technology in some areas. So when we started to solve this problem in Chile, we realized that we can scale this solution, but the biggest market was the US. And we like most of Latin American people must thought that, hey, the US is a very well-developed country, so they know how to do things. And the thing in this about this problem is that they were running grids worse than in Chile. So we had a huge market in the US. And then we realized that, hey, Europe had the same problems. But the thing is that they didn't know because they didn't measure congestion and curtailment. So it was like, hey, we have detected the problem. The problem is global, but it's different how they see the problem in different places. So we can scale, but we have to know how to talk with different people around the world. So two conclusions from Latin American founders is you have to think globally because you don't have to assume that the problems we are solving in Latin America are not global. Maybe we are solving problems that are in our region are very impactful, but maybe are more impactful in bigger countries. One of the things that I have to deal with is, hey, yes, you're from Latin America and you have a very cool technical solution. Why don't you go to Africa to solve the problem for other developing countries? And my response was, why I have to go to solve the problem in other developing countries if the biggest problems are in the developed countries? So the US and Europe are the biggest polluting in the world, the biggest country, the biggest economies polluting the world, and they have the more congested grids. So we can solve this problem in countries like US, Spain, or Germany. Why I have to go to Africa? because we are Latin American, so that doesn't make sense. But we have to deal with that, and we have to be aware of that.
Love what you're saying. And on that front, can you tell us a little bit more about where you're at now in terms of growth of the company, and where do you see, what's the 2050 vision for Splight?
Okay. We are now selling. We project to sell almost 10 million in 2024. We are projecting to double it in 2025. We are operating in Latin America in 5 different countries. We are operating in the US in 5 states, big states like Texas, New York, California, Oklahoma. We are operating all across Europe in Spain, Germany, Italy, France, and the UK. We just closed our seed round, which was a 12 million seed round. We engaged 2 big strategic investors. One is the second largest renewable generation in the world, which is CDP. The second one is one of the biggest transmission companies in the world, which is the transmission company of Spain. And we have venture capital firms investing in us from Chile, Argentina, Mexico, Spain, Portugal, UK, US. 3 companies, 3 VCs of Silicon Valley, 1 of Denver, 1 from Denver, 3 from Silicon Valley. So we are kind of a global company in terms of operation and investments, and we are mixing all of these things. And at the end, it is what it works. We have to talk to a lot of people within different cultures, maybe in the same day, and we have to change this background, but that gives us the flexibility to grow in such different ambience and to see problem at the global scale. So we have a very friendly relationship with you, for example. But it's the same relationship that I have with a venture capital guy in Denver, which is very active and very supportive, just like you. That is awesome because we are working in such different ambience, but we can connect and we can discuss things. I love that kind of things, mixing these cultures and things.
On that front, how has your experience been working with Savia Ventures as one of your many supporters?
It was amazing because at some point I am kind of an old guy in this venture things. So and by the way, my partners are much younger than me. So about Savia is you are the kind of guys that want to help, and that is amazing. I always said, there is people who said, what you're doing is amazing. I love it. You are going to save the world. You are the best. But when you ask something, they said, okay, let me see, and I'll be back. But you are the other kind of people. You are the kind of people that want to help for real, and that is amazing. So that is why I am comparing you with these guys in Denver, because you are kind of the same. As what do you need? I have this contact. You are almost active. You are always responsive. Actually, you are proactive, because sometimes you take us to new clients, investors, and things like that, and you are not passive. So that is the kind of investor that we need. Not the one that just said very good things about you and want a quarterly report and ask you, like every VC in the world asks you, what keeps you up at night.
Mm-hmm.
But you can put, I don't know, anything, like Boca Junior is not the champion of the world.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. You are the one who cares. You are the one who called and said, hey, why are you thinking about Boca Juniors and not about the company? And that is amazing. Yeah.
Thank you so much for those comments. One final question: what would you tell investors that could be from Latin America or from outside Latin America that were looking at Latin America, especially in the climate sector, as an investment opportunity? What would be your general message from a company like yours, which is having tremendous success and will keep having it? What would be your message?
My message would be the same for investors as for founders, is that have a global mentality. Don't stop at the Latin border. So don't stop at Mexico or at Argentina. Think globally. We are Latino founders. We are from Latin America. Yes, we are, and we are proud of it. But we can make global impact from the investor perspective or from the founder perspective. We can make global impact because we have everything to do that. My only comment is think globally and go for it. So we have to be proud for being Latinos, but we need to work in a global world.
Fantastic. I could definitely keep going, but won't take more of your time. Thank you so much for the interview.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Recording now.
Thank you for your permanent support. It's always amazing.